to all of you. I hope the monsoons in Bombay will bring in some kind of an interest in Megh Malhar or Mia Malhar or what have you. The rags which are handled during the monsoon in Maharashtra. Today we have a join us who's a prolific singer with a rich repertoire, not necessarily in the Indian classical music, but also with the Sant Vani and also with the Natya sangeet. These are the three major forms of music in Maharashtra, and you have a response for this all over the state, and people really listen to all these three forms of music. And I'm happy to introduce you Sri Anand Bhate, who is one of the most popular singers that Maharashtra has, and his programs, whether they are held in the cities like Mumbai or Pune or Nasik or Nagpur or what have you, but even in the interiors, he is extremely popular with his repertoire. And most importantly, he is the most chosen disciple of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. So that gives him a special status, because anybody who's wanting to hear that the rich voice of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji would like to listen to Anand Bhate as well. So we're just waiting for him to join the frame. Give us a few seconds. There you are. Pranam.
Hello.
And
hello,
namaskar. Having you
namaskar.
This morning, Anandji. I just made a few
Yes,
opening
thank you.
remarks.
Okay.
But before I engage with you on a casual chat, let me tell people as to what is the special feature of your music. Now, while
Sure.
you're adjusting the frame, now it looks all right. Now it looks all right. Maharashtra has a very rich following when it comes to music. And the Hindustani music has a very large following in the state of Maharashtra. But possibly bigger than that is the Sant Vani, where the abhangs or the compositions of the Maharashtrian saints are extremely popular, not only in the city, but even in the rural areas. And the third form, which is popular, is the Natya sangeet. Now, Maharashtra has a very, very rich tradition of Natya sangeet. So, as a performer, Anand Bhate ji is adept at handling all these three different forms of music, which is the Hindustani classical music, which is essentially the Khayal music, then the Sant Vani, the Abhangs, and the devotional and the spiritual renderings, and third, the Natya sangeet. Now, this is a very rare kind of a combination. So, Anand Bhate ji, let me first compliment you for acquiring
Thank you very
competence
much.
over all these three segments.
Thank you very much.
So now we get on to the chat. So Anandji, I would first like to know more about your family background, your childhood, your schooling days. Were you a mischievous child, or did you connect with music right from your childhood? How did this whole thing happen? If you can speak in whatever language, Hindi, Marathi, English, whatever.
Yeah, sure. My family background is such that as far as music is concerned, my great grandfather was a stage actor, known as classical singer, semi-classical singer, as in his thumuris were very popular. And he also had his own company called as Natya Kala Pravartak Sangeet Mandal, like the legendary Balagandharva. So he was contemporary to Balagandharva ji, and also had his own company in which he used to perform in the Sangeet Nataks or musical plays, as we say. So that's the kind of background we have got in our home. And throughout the generations, my father, my grandfather, etc., they were fond of Balagandharvaji and the Natya Sangeet. So that's how the tradition goes. And so at a very young age, I don't remember this, but I'm told that when I was 2 or 3 years old, then if I used to hear some tune, then I could reproduce that on the harmonium. So that's what I'm told. So my father being a bhakt of Bal Gandharvaji, so once he told me that I'll sing you a Natya Sangeet and see if you can reproduce that on the harmonium. So I did that, and then my parents had they thought that this boy has some inclination in music, and that's how it started actually. My father and my two elder sisters, so they also sing very well. So they first knew that I had this ear for music. So my father taught me some of the Bal Gandharva's songs. He had a very good voice, but he wasn't a performer as such. But he just so he was instrumental in inculcating the liking for the music in me. That's what I would say. And then I had the formal training. I'll talk about that later. But this is how it started really.
Well, for people who may not understand what is Natya Sangeet, you mentioned about the illustrious Bal Gandharva, who was a kind of an icon throughout Maharashtra. And Natya Sangeet is a form where it's like a kind of a Sangeet Natak, if I may use that phrase. And you were singing live to the audience with a live accompaniment right in your front. So it was a very challenging. Plus, in addition, you also need to emote because you are actually playing a part in that Natak. So it was a combination of
your frame is
live.
freezing in between. Your frame is freezing in between. Is my frame continuous? You are freezing in between. So
no, I think your internet signal is a little because it keeps going round. So if you could, maybe it'll fall in line in due course. So I was referring to the Sangeet Natak. You mentioned about the illustrious name of Bal Gandharva, who was a kind of an icon in Maharashtra, and the people used to wait overnight to see plays of Bal Gandharva, whether it was Pune or the interiors or what have you. Sangeet Natak would mean that while you are acting, you are singing live with a live accompaniment the front with maybe a pipette and an organ or a tabla or a pakhawaj or what have you. So it's a combination of singing, acting, and to a live audience. So would you like to say a little more about, and the way the singing was done was a little more robust, unlike classical singing where it could be a little laid back and a little slow. In Natya Sangeet, it was more robust. It was very powerful, very aggressive. So do you want to say a little more about what is Natya Sangeet? Because people may not know it.
As you rightly put it, it is Sangeet Natak. We have got this rich tradition of Sangeet, what we call as Sangeet Natak. And the parallel we can draw is with the musicals in the Western world. So the songs which appear in this Sangeet Natak is broadly called as Natya Sangeet. And the speciality of the Natya Sangeet is that as far as the lyrics of the Natya Sangeet go, then the Natya Sangeet actually takes the story of the play forward. So it's not like there is a place, so let's introduce some music. It's not like that. It's part and parcel of that natak, and it is supposed to carry forward the meaning. And that's why what happens is that there are two implications. Like one is that while presenting the Natya Sangeet, especially in the natak, you have to consider what situation the song is coming in, and who are the other characters or people on the stage to whom you are going to the. So it's not it's singing my film or a concert, and make sure you have to make that impact in a short amount of time. That is very important, because there is a huge play which is going on, and that the music is just one part of it. So you have to be always aware that how much time I can devote for this particular song. So those things are very important. In fact, my guru Pandit Bhimsenji used to say that he also used to act in some sangeet nataks in his early days, some Kannada musical plays, and he used to say that how to make your music effective in a very short time, that he learned from the sangeet natak.
Well, that's a very interesting insight into the Sangeet Natak. I have seen many of them in my childhood, and I have been enamored by the power with which actually it is nothing but delivering your dialogue through a song. Whether you are addressing
Yes.
a co-artist or whether you are narrating a portion of a story and you take forward the story, I have enjoyed
That's right.
very many such Sangeet Nataks in my childhood, and music is a very integral part. So you had opportunity for various ragas, which even may not be handled in classical music. You had Mishra, you had a combination of two different ragas, you had a combination of moods. Sometimes one person
That's
is
right.
very soft, the other person is quite aggressive. So this kind of exchange made it very, very interesting. And like I said,
Absolutely.
you have to connect it with also emoting the song. So my next question is, did you act in along with this Natya Sangeet? Did you also act in any of the Natya Sangeet that you performed in?
I had played the role of
Anandji,
Sri Krishna.
can I make a small suggestion?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you have another phone near you, I would
Uh-huh.
suggest that you record your voice on that, because the freezing is going on too frequently. So we may lose out on your.
Oh,
So if you have another phone, anyone next to you, put that on a record mode so that
uh,
we can replace the audio later on.
oh, okay. I see. I see. So, if you can just give me a couple of minutes, I'll just get another
No
phone.
problem. Take your time,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
otherwise I don't want to
Okay.
lose out on what you're speaking.
Sure. 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 Just give me 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So I have put on the recording also now.
Perfect. So my question was,
Yeah.
did you also
Mhm.
act in any of the Sangeet Natak thing that you presented?
Yes. In fact, I acted in one of the nataks called as Sangeet Saubhadra.
Oh,
So
oh,
Rahul Deshpande actually in recent years he had again brought to stage around 4 Sangeet Nataks, I think, including Katyar and others. And Saubhadra was one of them.
okay.
So in Sangeet Saubhadra, I had played the main role of Shri Krishna.
Wow.
So that was really a nice experience. And uh, in fact, I realized the power of this Sangeet Natak. Why it has been such a rich tradition when I actually acted in the play, because it has got music, it has got वो नाट्य भी रहता है उसमें और संगीत भी रहता है, so it has got all those elements, and which can really attract the general audience, and at the same time the rich music also reaches them. So it is a really a good. It was really a good experience.
Do you want to sing a small piece from Sangeet Saubhadra that you had enacted?
Sure, sure. There is a very famous song
Uh,
called Priye Priye Paha.
wow.
It's from it's from Krishna and Rukmini scene. So I'll just sing a jalak of that.
हो जाए.
Is my Tanpura audible? Is the
Yeah,
Tanpura
yeah, yeah,
audible?
perfect. Yeah, yeah, all right.
Ah, ah, प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़ रात्रीचा समय सरुनी रात्रीचा समय सरुनी रात्रीचा समय सरुनी येत उषकाल आ प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़ थंडगार वात सुटत थंडगार वात सुटत दीप तेज मंद होत दीप तेज मंद होत दीप स्वच्छ करित अरुण पसरी निज महा प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय सुख दुखा विसरुनिया सुख दुखा विसरुनिया गेले जे विश्वलया गेले जे विश्वलया स्थिति निजति सेवाया 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 उठते की तेज आहार प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़ प्रिय पहाड़
Well, if the singing is of this quality, no wonder Rukmini will fall for Krishna. It's such a musical piece. I think you started with Dhoop and then went into another raga. So in a short span of 3 minutes, you could do a Mishran of about 3 to 4 different ragas.
Yes. And if you see, I just I intentionally also sang the last piece, which was in the morning raga. So the one of the specialities was that the music or the composing of that music in Sangeet Nataks was that one is, as you said, they brought all the stalwarts, Anna Sahib Kirloskar or Govindrao Tembeji or Bhaskar Bua Bakleji. So all these people used to compose these Natya Sangeets from either earlier bandishes or another kirtan parampara that we had in Maharashtra. So various ragas were used, and various ragas which were as per when that song will come in the natak. So that time the Sangeet Natak used to start in the night and go on till the early morning. And this particular song, so they have also used the Bhairav, which is one of the morning ragas. So they had so much, they brought so much richness into this Natya Sangeet. So their intention was really to for the common audience, which wouldn't go to the classical music concerts. All these stalwarts, their intention was to take that good music to the common listener.
Well, I must make this point that unlike classical music, where the audience is very focused on the classical aspect of music, the purity of the ragas, in a Natya Sangeet, the expectation is completely different because you have a
Right,
very
right,
heterogeneous audience. There is an audience
right.
who is very well enlightened, but there would be a villager who knows nothing about music. So you had to
Correct,
combine all these elements into making it
correct.
appealing to the mass audience. So here was one class audience of
Absolutely,
classical music, but there was a mass audience for the Natya Sangeet. So the whole component had to
absolutely.
be reinvented, completely different. And this is something very unique to Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, the concept of Natya Sangeet became so popular. In fact, if you want to put a scale and measure, if classical music had a support of 2 people, the Natya Sangeet had a support of 20 people. Because the whole village used to assemble. And like you said, it may start sometimes slightly late evening and go on till next day morning till the dawn. So you can start from Bhoop and right, go up to Bhairav and have the entire
Right,
the spectrum of classical music. And this is a great thing. And while you
right,
demonstrated
right.
a Natya Sangeet piece, in the same this thing, if I may ask you to demonstrate a Sant Vani, where it is bhakti
Okay.
oriented, where it is bhava
Uh-huh.
oriented, and where music is of course important, but the bhava and the bhakti takes over. Can you also demonstrate a piece from the Sant Vani?
Sure, sure. I will sing the iconic abhang of my guru, Tirtha Vittala, Kshetra Vittala. So
Wow.
just a jhalak of that. देव विठ्ठल देव पूजा तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल देव विठ्ठल देव पूजा विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल देव विठ्ठल देव पूजा विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल देव विठ्ठल देव पूजा विठ्ठल तीर्थ
Wow.
विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल गुरु विठ्ठल गुरुदेवता 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 विठ्ठल निधान विठ्ठल निरंतर विठ्ठल निधान विठ्ठल निधान विठ्ठल निधान विठ्ठल निरंतर विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल नामा म्हणे मद विठ्ठल सापडला नामा म्हणे मद 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 नामा मने विठ्ठल सापडला म्हणून कैका म्हणून कैका पाड नाही पाड नाही पाड नाही विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल तीर्थ विठ्ठल क्षेत्र विठ्ठल.
Well, that was absolutely fabulous, to say the least. Your voice has so much power in that, and your musical expressions absolutely fall on dot. There is not a single blemish or a lack of clarity. Even if you handle ragas which are very different from each other, it exactly falls in line, and that goes to show that the fundamental training in music is so structured and so powerful that you're able to deliver this without batting an eyelid. But I happened to speak on a lot of Marathi abhangs in many locations. And once I was performing in Chennai, and it was about this song. So I gave the story behind the song, which is very interesting. Now, during his times, Namdev was a Shimpi. Namdev, the Sant Namdev, who was a composer, was a Shimpi. And he went to Aundya Nagnath, the Shiva temple. And he started singing bhajans and Nam Sankirtan at the entrance. And the Pandas kind of, drove them away, that you can't sing here. You can go behind the temple and sing there. So the entire group goes behind the temple, and it was a Mahashivratri day. So they were singing throughout the night. And when they were singing before that, the pujaris, or the badwes, as you will call in Marathi, they wanted to ask him, who are you? From where have you come? What is your gotra? From which tirtha? So he says, Tirtha Vittala, Kshetra Vittala, Deva Vittala, Deva Puja Vittala, Mata Vittala, Pita Vittala, Guru Vittala, Guru Sakha Vittala. And just then, when the next day morning, the temple turns a 180 degree, and the entrance comes in front of these people. So it's a famous thing called Feravile Devola Jaga Maji Khyati. So Namdev had that ability in his singing, that the entire turned. And when that happens, he says, Nama Mane Vitthala Sapadale, Bhanoni Kali Kala. So it was such an interesting story. So every composition has a lot of story behind it. And to emote to bring out the bhava of that story, needs a lot of preparation. I mean, it is not just it can happen. And obviously, your guru Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji had a great ability of bringing to life such situations. And if you are a student, an illustrious student of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji, how can you not inherit it? So it is there. And my compliments to Anand Bhate ji. And now this, actually, when you are singing, I was dreaming, suppose I take you to Chennai, a city like Chennai, where there is a fantastic following for Marathi abhangs. You will not know, but Chennai has a very large audience for Marathi abhangs, because they take it so seriously. So maybe we should present a program where the first half you do Natya sangeet, and the second half the spiritual and the devotional Marathi abhangs, or some such format we will evolve. And I would like you to come, and you will take the entire city by storm if you are able to sing, if you are able to deliver these kind of things. So I'm already imagining I'm going to plan it, and at an appropriate time take you to Chennai. But coming back to our interview, now one is the Natya Sangeet, second is the Sant Vani, the third is the classical music, where you are equally adept at that. Now classical singing, you adopt the Khayal style, which is essentially Kirana Gharana. So can you also demonstrate a small piece of classical singing where there is no mix of ragas, but it's a very pure and a faithful representation of a raga? Can you also demonstrate that for about 2 minutes?
Sure. And before I do that, let me just mention about all my gurus, just to
Yeah,
pay
please,
a tribute
please.
to them. Uh, First, I started learning from Chandrasekhar Deshpande when I was young. So at the age of around 6, 7 years, I started my formal training in the
Hmm.
music. So I started in Natya Sangeet and classical music parallelly.
Hmm.
Because Natya Sangeet, as I said, was passion in our home.
Yes.
But at the same time, my parents also realized that if you want to sing any kind of the base of classical music is absolutely essential. So I started learning Natya Sangeet from Chandrasekharji Deshpande and started learning classical music from Yashwant Bua Marathe. So, as far as classical music was concerned, Marathe Guruji uh, taught me all the foundation of the
Wow.
classical music,
Hmm.
all the Raga Sangeet, and all the foundation of. He also used to ask me to listen to not only the Khayal Sangeet but also semi-classical music like Thumris and Tappa. So that I get the flavor of all kind of classical music. And so after that, I went to Pandit Bhimsenji and requested him that I wanted to learn from him because since childhood, like Balagandharva was a daivat in our home. So was Pandit Bhimsenji. So these two iconic personalities, Balgandharvaji and Bhimsenji. So we used to revere them since my childhood, and I had I listened to quite a lot of recordings of Pandit Bhimsenji there were LPs. Long plays and there was his music on All India Radio. So I really wanted that had a great impact on my mind since childhood. Uh, and it was my great fortune that he accepted me as a disciple. And
This happened at what age with you?
I was 17 years old that time.
Oh,
So I'll just sing a jhalak of one bandish. So I'll take some morning raga, maybe Miyaki Todi. I'll just sing a small bandish in Miyaki
yeah.
Todi. Ah. लंगर कार करिया जिन मारो लंगर कार करिया जिन मारो लंगर आज मारो घर का दरिया जिन मारो लग जाए का दरिया जिन मारो नगर का दरिया जिन मारो नगर का दरिया जिन मारो नगर का दरिया जिन मारो दवाई लग जाए दरिया जिन मारो लंगर का दरिया जिन नगर नगर का सुन पावे मोरी सास नदिया सुन पावे मोरी सास नदिया नैना सुना सुना पावे मोरी सुन पावे मोरी सास नदिया सुन पावे मोरी सास नदिया दौर दौर घर नगर का दरिया जिन मारो नगर का दरिया जिन मारो नगर का दरिया जिन मारो लग जाए
Fabulous. I'm tempted to say this about you, Anand Bhate. When you start singing, you actually go inside yourself. It is very evident on your face or your rendering that whenever you start singing, you actually go inside and you're lost completely within yourself. I've seen many artists, who just sing it from external thing. But in you, I find that you actually go inside You touch your heart, especially the kind of a tremor in your voice when you go beyond the upper Gandhara or the Madhyam. There is a small tremor in your voice, which creates a sense of bhakti, which creates a sense of being together with the audience, and that is a great element in your music. And I hope and wish that while your gurus, whether it is in Natya Sangeet or whether it is in Sant Vani, whether it is in classical singing, well, of course, the gurus have contributed to your fundamentals, but you have now created a style of your own. And I think the stage has come to acknowledge you not necessarily as a disciple of somebody. Of course, that still stands and respected. But you have developed a style of your own. And the fast-paced taans, a combination of that, and the melody at the upper octaves is something that is very Marathit म्हणतात ते काटे उभं राहतात तसं. It is so powerful. It just gets into the audience. And the mind cannot go anywhere else but just focused on your singing. So this great element of the powerful voice in your singing, and also the softness. It is not necessarily the aggressive voice, but in some shades, you are very soft. For example, you demonstrated Miyaki Todi, where when you touch Pancham, there is a little softness in the voice because it is between the two other notes. So that is the greatness of the kind of music that you give. And so that has brought us with your musical journey. Now, let me go on to performer. You have been on the stage now for the last so many years. You have sung with several other stalwarts. You have sung with other contemporaries. You are rendering with other instrumentalists. So your journey as a main stage performer, how did that whole thing unfold? And what is your experience? If you can tell a few things on that.
Actually, as I said, I started singing when I was very young, and I used to give stage performances as a child artist. So it was in various cities like Pune, Mumbai, and I had a good fortune to travel to USA also that time when I was 13 years old, in which there was the first Bruhan Maharashtra Mandal convention. So I used to give stage performances, and when I was at the age of when I was 10 years old, there was my concert on Doordarshan. So that was the only channel at that time, and I also became I had also become popular as Anand the Gandharva at that time. So as far as stage performances are concerned, I always feel that we sometimes talk about stage fright and all such things. But for me, again, if you start as a child, then I always feel that before you know the meaning of stage fright, you are already performing. So that's what really happened in my case. I again feel fortunate about that thing because as a child you don't have that tensions and fears about anything. You just go there and sing what you are taught. So I started during that age. So and then later on, of course, when I went to Pandit Bhimsenji and requested him that I wanted to be his disciple, he told me to the performances. Till the time you have a proper talim with me, then you don't run after the stage performances. So there was a time in my career around 15 years when I didn't perform at all outside. I was just doing riyaz and talim with Pandit Bhimsenji. And then when he asked me to perform in the Savai Gandharva, then onwards I again started performing.
Wow.
Now, as far as I would like to mention one thing about performance. Again, Bhimsenji used to put it in a very nice terms that what is the difference between a riyaz and a stage performance. So what he used to say that whatever you want to improve in your music, that you have to do while doing riyaz. while doing the riyaz, don't just keep on singing what you already know. Then there is no point. There you concentrate on what you need to improve. And on the other hand, when you are performing on the stage, that is not the place to do your riyaz. There you should present what you know and want to present in front of audience. So that was a very, very apt kind of way to put it. And this was Bhimsenji's peculiarity, by the way, that he didn't talk much about his own music. But these small things which he used to say had a very, very deep meaning within it. So this was one of the things he used to say, that stage performance should be, you have to present what you know. And one more thing about stage performance is that you have to always remember that you are performing for the audience. It's not like you are performing only for yourself. It's not like that. Of course, you have to be content yourself. If you yourself cannot enjoy the music, you cannot pass on that joy to the audience. That is there. But at the same time, you have to also see what kind of audience it is, whether they are core classical music listeners or is there a general audience, and how to present or how to perform in a concert, taking all of these things into account. And again, Pandit Bhimsenji was the idol and the ideal singer that we can say in this particular aspect, because when he used to perform on the stage, his music touched the hearts of each and everybody in the audience. So the content was so rich that the audience, the section of the audience who is knowledgeable and who know the classical music and all the shastra behind it, so they used to like it because of the content. And at the same time, he used to perform or present it in such a way that any common listener who doesn't know behind it, his music also reached the hearts of that section of the audience. So at the same time, achieving this balance between the content and the way you perform it. So that was one of the peculiarities of Pandit Bhimsenji. So when I used to accompany him on the Tanpura on the stage, so that was another kind of learning. So how to perform and what to do and what not to do on the stage, etc. So
excellent.
He was a he was the master of science as well as the performance.
No, you have gone through these stages, and it is very evident that you have blossomed as a 360-degree performer. So it is evident that whatever taan you produce on the stage must have been rehearsed at least 10,000 times before in the house or wherever you did the talim or the riyaz. But when you come on the stage, you're absolutely, what shall I say, an epitome of perfection. Whatever you do is absolutely perfect. There is no, here and there. There is no lack of confidence. It's an absolute confident showcasing of your entire talent and connecting with the audience. What you said is very true. If there is 1,000 audience, their expectations are different. Their enjoyment level is different. Their understanding of music is different. So you have to connect with all these people and ensure that 2.5 hours or 3 hours that you perform, you are completely in connect with all of them. That's a great quality. Another element that I have seen in your singing, I have been watching you for the last several years, and there is another element which stands out. That is, for many singers, vocalists, they are sometimes very accompaniment based. That is, they need that output to come from the relevant accompaniments, and that kind of makes it more presentable. I have watched in your case, you're completely, as an individual vocalist, whether the accompaniment is good or mediocre or what have you, but you present what you want to present, and it's very clear. So you're not dependent, so to say, on the accompaniment, whether it is the harmonium or sarangi or the tabla or the pakhavaj or whatever. You do justice to what you take. and irrespective of the level of the accompaniment, you do your best. And this is a very rare quality because you're not bothered about what is happening around you while you're on the stage. Of course, it is important that as a team, everything should be all right. But I have seen in you a unique ability that you are absolutely on dot. So, how did you develop that kind of a situation?
Actually, when I used to see Bhimsenji perform, of course, as far as accompaniment goes, he of course had good accompanists, so there was not a problem from that end. But there could be other things which can go wrong in a concert. That sometimes you don't get the sound as good as you want, or
Yes.
sometimes there are some non-musical factors. Sometimes people, some sections of the audience, they don't have that concentration on the music. They will talk on the phone, for example, or they keep on making movements like going out and coming back in, etc. Sometimes there are something to do with the camera and the video shooting, if it is the case. So these can be the technical or non-musical things which can happen in the concert. But one thing I noticed about Bhimsenji when he used to sing in the concert, that he tried to solve them up to certain extent. But after that, he considered that music was important and all these other things were secondary.
Yes.
And those are the kind of things I have seen in his performances, and maybe I inherently follow them in that way.
Well, it also happens because you have, the accompaniment that you would have for a Natya sangeet is different. The accompaniment you would have for a Sant Vani is different. The accompaniment that you would have for a classical rendering is different. So you have gone through all that phases. So it doesn't.
Right. And one thing, one thing is, but I again feel fortunate that my the accompaniment which I have got up to now. I remember many concerts where people come and say that we really like the synchronization of your voice and the harmonium and the tabla and the accompanist. So when we go on the stage as a team, so we always consider that this is a team effort. Like if the accompaniment is in tune with what I'm singing, and I'm fortunate to get such accompanists. Then what happens is that we on stage we enjoy what we are doing, and because before going to the audience, we ourselves have to be satisfied. I have to be satisfied with the harmonium, and the harmonium has to be in tune with me, and the harmonium player has to look at what I'm thinking, and not only what I'm singing. And the same thing goes with the tabla. So I'm really fortunate to get good accompanists, and that's why what happens is that it's a team effort on the stage, and that's why the music reaches more effectively to the audience. But yes, the other non-technical, other technical things which may be non-musical, I have just learned to ignore them and concentrate on music.
Yeah, you are not bothered about distractions. There are a lot of distractions in the audience, and you are absolutely cool to yourself. You don't get excited. I've never seen you losing your cool. Sometimes if things really go wrong, people lose their cool. अभी समझो माइंड ठीक काम नहीं कर रहा है, 3-4 बार बोला तो भी वो ठीक नहीं हुआ, तो कभी कभी थोड़ा सा गुस्सा आ जाता है लोगों को. मगर आपने एक देखा है कि आप बिल्कुल एकदम शांत स्वभाव के, आपके जो चेहरे में जो हंसी है, that is intact, and you don't bother, and you give out your best irrespective of what the surrounding is. You have given your best. So ये जो क्वालिटी है ये अद्भुत है. तो आप recent times में वी वसंत राव में गाना गाया, and that has become very very popular. So one
sorry, I lost that. Can you just repeat? I just lost that.
मी वसंत राव मध्ये जे गाणं आपण म्हटलं, कैवल्य गान जे काय असेल, one of the audience wants you to do that for a minute.
Actually, I have sung three songs of Master Dinanath
Ah,
in the movie Me Vasantra. So it was a good experience for me. That Kaivalya Gan is sung by Rahul, but I sang. Master Dinanath was another legend on the Sangeet Rangabhumi. And the challenge for me in this movie, Me Vasantra, was that uh, the normal Gayaki in the Natya Sangeet that I sing, the Gandharva Gayaki, and the Gayaki of Master Dinanath, those are quite different.
correct.
So Gandharva Gayaki is really very soft, and Master Dinanath, his Gayaki was more aggressive. So it was very different Gayaki. So it was a nice challenge for me. So I'll just sing a jhalak of one song from that. It's a song from Sangeet Manapman. Yuvati Mana Darunarina Ruchira Premasa. झाले अति मना दारुण रे चिर प्रेम से झाले अति मना दारुण चिर प्रेम से केले रण भजना संसार से अमर में केले रण भजना रण भजना संसार रण भजना संसार असे अमर मी केले अति मना दारुण चिर प्रेम से रमणी मन हंसान रमणी मन हंसान रमणी मन रमणी मन हंसान रमणी मन हंसान रमणी मन
Wow.
रमणी मन हंसान रमणी मन हंसान साहस सरसी शूर तोची विजय तोची शूर तोची विजय तोची शूर तोची विजय तोची हे शुभ यश मजाले अति मना दारुण रे चिर प्रेम चिर प्रेम से केले रण भजना संसारी असे अमर में झाले युवती मना दारुण रे चिर प्रेम से.
Wow. Well, there are hundreds of farmaish pouring in, but then I think Arati, we'll have to engage you in one more series because this will not end. You have so many followers, so many dedicated followers that they want to listen to more and more. And what I would tell you is on behalf of InSync TV, I'm going to arrange a program of yours in the Fine Arts Society, which would be a 5-hour
Sure.
session. where we will have your Natya sangeet, and then the classical music, and then the Sant Vani, and all the people who want to listen to all that you do. I will invite them free there, though it's a fairly large auditorium, but we'll invite them and have music to our fill. So while
Sure,
we are
sure.
coming to the end of this conversation, end of this Sambhashan, I want to tell the viewers that InSync TV is trying to do its best in terms of promoting the Indian classical music and dance, and we have several initiatives. And we thought through the social media, through the Instagram Live, we can talk to these stalwarts who are big performers who have traveled wide and around, and engage them into a chat in a very casual manner, try to bring out their personality, the persona, the person that is behind the singing, and present it to all of you. So every week on Saturday, we choose one artist, and today we are extremely glad to have had Anand Bhate ji. Anand ji, this is not an end. This is only a beginning. So we will have to talk to you a little
Sure,
more.
sure. I'm actually very happy to contribute to this session. In fact, as you very, very rightly put, we as an artists are really indebted to InSync TV for promoting classical music, which is very much required in this era, but which is very rare that we find. So we are indebted to InSync, all the artists. I'll speak on behalf of all the artists. And in addition to the TV channel, these social media interactions are the way to go. That's all we all know. So these sessions that you are doing, maybe on the Instagram or the YouTube channel. So those are also very important. And as an artist also, of course, we have to keep and social media, if it is used in a good way, it's really a nice tool. I do interact with people on Instagram, or I have my own YouTube channel also, Anand Bhate Music Official. So I am also very much in tune with the social media, as long as it doesn't affect my
sync
reacts.
with the social media. You are in sync with the social media.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks again for doing all this for our classical music.
Incidentally, whatever clips that you think is relevant to be played on InSync channel, you're most welcome to contribute to us. We'll be glad to showcase them. Or if you have any special ideas
Sure.
in terms of, we can handle this subject in this manner, or we want to tell the story of, some great musical personality, and we can do it this way. InSync is most receptive to such ideas, and we look forward to such suggestions. The idea is to carry
Sure.
this rich tradition, the rich Indian classical music tradition, to the youngsters especially, because they need to be told this story. For example, you mentioned about your upbringing, how you were influenced in your childhood. Now, today's youngsters cannot go to that time. So through you, they are able to connect कि भाई वो जमाने में कैसे होता था, नाट्य संगीत ऐसे होता था, पूरा रात 6-6 घंटा 7-7 घंटा आर्टिस्ट गाते थे और पाई पेटी बजाते थे. ऐसे भी एक जमाना था कि 7 घंटा 8 घंटा रातों रात चले. तो ये जो मैजिक था वो आज के जमाने में तो नहीं देख सकते हैं. तो through people like you, we are able to enjoy that and re-experience that. So it's a pleasure having you, Anand Bhate ji. And like I said, this is only a beginning. We are going to keep engaging you in other things, and we will take this rich tradition forward. And with that, my pranams to you, Anand Bhate ji, for that excellent music that you're doing. And I look forward to much bigger audience for your concerts all over the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.